Thank you, Gary. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Barsha, along with ESPN road racing analyst David Hobbs. And as you can see, the weather conditions here at Watkins Glen certainly aren't fit for standing outside on camera. So we'll just sit here nice and dry in our announced position and take a look at the starting grid for today's Luke Clutch Challenge for IMSA's International Sedans here at the Glen. On the pole, Garth Ullum in the Eagle Talon next to Parker Johnstone in the Acura Integra. On row 2, Doug Peterson, Parker Johnstone's teammate and car owner in another Acura, next to the Nissan of Pepe Pombo from Norcross, Georgia. Row 3 will be Joe Vardy in the Eagle Talon, partnering Garth Ullum. Next to him, John Norris in a Mitsubishi. On row 4, Mike Rutherford, Norris's Mitsubishi teammate, next to Chuck Ulinski from Champaign, Illinois. On row 5, Charlie Drummond in a Mazda out of Spartanburg, South Carolina, next to Hawthorne, California's Charlie Downs. On row 6 will be Bill Topping, next to Butch Leitzinger. On row 7, Bill Lambros in a Dodge Shelby Daytona next to Doug Wallace in a Nissan 200XX. Row 8 will be Tom Little from Georgia in a Nissan next to the Dodge of Gary Summers from Monticello, New York. Row 9 will be Alistair Ogue in a Volkswagen next to John Vickerman's Mazda. And row 10, Mark Krellen in a Nissan next to Anthony Capizzi's Mercury Mercure. The pace car is off the racetrack at Watkins Glen International. Down to the line they come. Parker Johnstone on the outside. To the inside, Garth Ullum. They head down to turn 1, and it's Ullum with the early lead. You can see what the conditions are like here. These guys are going to have to be very careful. They've had only one lap and not at racing speed, so they'll be tippy-toeing through here, David.
Well, they certainly will, and of course this is just exactly what Garth Ullum and of course the Mitsubishi guys wanted, rain, because they've got all-wheel drive. These cars are four-wheel drive, and that's going to give them a big advantage in these slick conditions. But just look at that visibility. It comes and goes very, very badly. There's even a possibility that this race may get called if the visibility gets worse.
Now, of course, the long lenses on our television cameras make it look perhaps a little worse than it is. Well, this is the place where the expression was originally coined. If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes and it'll change. We have had bright sunshine, we've had warm temperatures, and now we are in the middle of a pea soup worthy of London itself. Somewhere out of the fog, here they come. Your leader, Garth Ullum, points leader in the series, followed by Parker Johnstone, Pepe Pombo, Doug Peterson, and that looks like Joe Vardy in the second Eagle Talon. The 90 car is John Norris in one of the Mitsubishi Eclipses, very much like the Eagle Talons.
Coming down to turn 6, this is the first of the slow corners here, and of course that's where these four-wheel drive cars will pick up even more traction, of course, than the front-wheel drive Acuras, although the Acuras are hanging in there really, really well at the moment.
And the yellow car in the middle, that Nissan, is also a normally aspirated car. Here goes Peterson underneath Pepe Pombo, but he won't get it done. Ullum with the four-wheel drive Eagle out front. Pombo now taking a look at second place there on the uphill charge, trying to overtake Parker Johnstone, but he won't get that done.
Good passing place coming into this corner here, turn 8. Very, very bumpy approach.
Peterson swinging to the left. He'll take Pombo under braking for third place. Willie, they'll go side by side. Pombo giving up nothing.
And now he's got the right line. He's got the inside line for the next turn as they turn back onto the old course.
46-year-old Pepe Pombo from Norcross, Georgia, very experienced in these cars. He's won a couple of national championships in pure stock sedans. These, of course, are a little bit more racy. The engines have been blueprinted. They use stock transmissions with gear ratios and so forth, but they must be stock turbocharger boost if you have the turbo. Great battle for third place there. Pombo and Peterson door to door.
Doug Peterson going on the inside as they come through turn 11. This is a very key corner on this racetrack. Come onto the, God, look at that start-finish line straight. You can hardly see.
Oh, we've got a spinner. There. That is the number 27 machine of Doug Wallace out of Lilburn, Georgia.
Doug Wallace didn't exactly cover himself in glory in qualifying. He was 12 seconds off the pace, but oh, here we see the spin. This is down at turn 7, what they call the boot. It's a long rising right-hander. Very slick there. You've got to give him the credit for that. It is extremely slippery.
There is your leader, Garth Ullum, and behind him, we've had a change in position. The number 48 of Doug Peterson has taken over his teammate, Parker Johnstone, and I've got to believe it's because that windshield wiper on the third-place car of Johnstone is not working, David.
Nope, it's going to be very, very bad for him.
Pepe Pombo has taken back third place. Now Parker Johnstone drops to fourth. He cannot see well out of that Acura, and he is paying the price. There's Pombo with both windshield wipers flapping. The Parker's is just dead stuck. Garth Ullum remains the leader. Windshield wiper flapping, probably got the defroster on as well. We'll return for more of the Luke Clutch Challenge from Watkins Glen after this. Pennsylvania, has led this race from the beginning. Bob Barsha, David Hobbs, and Mike Joy with you from the Glen, where we have absolutely miserable conditions, although it certainly makes for a test for these drivers in the Luke Clutch Challenge for international sedans.
The dry line just starting to appear there, or drier, but the rain keeps sweeping across here in great big sheets. It's coming down just a few moments ago here, absolutely pouring. Now the sun is sort of shining. The track is starting to steam, but there's no way it's going to dry out before the end of this race. Look at that fog there, too.
I was just about to say that the visibility was getting better down in the S's, but as you can see on the backstretch, it's gotten worse. Oops, and somebody has run amok. Conditions have claimed, I believe that's might be Butch Leitzinger, the number 95 Nissan out of State College, Pennsylvania. He was running 10th, but he is now well onto the infield, as you can see. And here this battle for 5th place continues. The 51 car of Joe Vardy and the 90 of John Norris.
And John Norris muscles his way past there. In the fastest corners in the track here, he knows very, very fast S's. He manages to squeeze his way in front. And now the thing is, can he hold on to that advantage down this long, long uphill back straight?
The car's reaching in excess of 110 miles an hour on that back straight, and then they have to brake very hard for a downhill right-hander coming up just now. Here's Norris with Vardy right on his rear bumper.
Got to be a bit careful on the exit of this corner. It's a long corner, as you can see. Dips downhill there, and not a lot of runoff area between the edge of the road and that guardrail. Look how the rest of the field have caught them up. That's that 38 car. That's Gary Drummond in the Mazda, and right behind him is Charlie Downs in the BMW. So, good race here. Look at them all together.
Things are clearing up a little bit back on the back portions of the cars.
This is developing into a good scrap for overall 5th place. That's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. You see there, all in the frame.
Norris swings wide. Vardy takes a look underneath. Looks like the better line belongs to Norris, though.
He takes a slightly wider run, gives him less friction, less binding up, and probably a bit less slippery out there, just slightly off the regular racing line. And there's one of the back markers. You can see him waving past this furiously dicing group as they go into turn 8.
It's Mark Crellin from Springfield, Ohio, giving the 5th place and 6th place cars to go by. Meanwhile, that black BMW in the back, Charlie Downs running in 8th position. Gary Drummond is with him in 7th place. Well, we're going to go 3 wide here.
Ready on Charlie. He did it all right. These guys having a good go here.
As you can see, that rail is right up against the racetrack back there. That's in the turns 9 and 10 sections. This is turn 10. Turn 11, then on to the start-finish straightaway here at the Glen.
All this racing amongst the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th spot has allowed Mike Rutherford in the second one of these Mitsubishis to catch right up to this group as well. So he soon hopes to get involved in this action for this place.
There goes Rutherford, who's had very little, if any, practice time into his car. As I mentioned, he was late getting into the track. Now here's Drummond. Downs goes diving underneath, under braking. Gary Drummond, the 38 car, goes straight on and then some. Oh!
Well, the old classic there, he had his foot hard on the brake, and at a time like that, absolutely, the brain has to be told in the very firmest tone to lift your foot off the brake, otherwise it won't turn. Of course, it's still not going to turn very well on wet grass.
Let's take another look as Gary Drummond does his impersonation of Sandro Nannini and Jean Alesi at the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal this year.
As soon as he hits the grass, picks up speed, got the wheels locked, he's got lock on, he wants to turn the car, but he just can't bring himself to take his foot off the pedal, which is the only thing that would have saved him there, as the car would have responded to the helm.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, the battle continues between Joe Vardy and John Norris. Norris has 5th place. Vardy wants it badly.
That's that downhill turn 6, slippery and bumpy on exit. And there goes Joe Vardy underneath it. This climbing turn 7 gets alongside. It seems to me, I must admit, that John Norris appears to have got just a little bit more oomph. The car, I think, has got just a bit more hope than Joe Vardy's got.
Meanwhile, flying along out front, having a nice Sunday drive at Watkins Glen is our leader, Garth Ullom. He has led since the get-go. In his 2 previous victories this year, he's led from flag to flag. He may well do it again today. Back at Watkins Glen, where Garth Ullom leads the Luke Clutch Challenge for international sedans. Flashing down, lapping cars regularly. no one has been able to get close to Ullum in his four-wheel drive turbocharged Eagle Talon.
And there you see the length of the gap back to second place.
This is Doug Peterson, and he has got Pepe Pombo all over, and this is for second place. Pombo goes underneath. Can he make the pass?
Doug Peterson's windscreen wipers let him down now. His windscreen wiper's not working anymore.
Now, Peterson's teammate Parker Johnstone started on the outside of the front row here at the Glen, but when the rain began to fall, he could not get his windshield wiper to work, and he immediately dropped to fourth place and a poor fourth at this point. These are the second and third place cars, and now the second Acura, the team car to Johnstone's. Doug Peterson does not have a working windshield wiper either.
Most un-Acura-like. This won't go down well on the old CSI. Windscreen wiper fails on early in the race, but that may not be his problem, because it could be that the Nissan just likes this wet weather conditions slightly better. Whoa!
Now Peterson straight off. Get the foot off the brake. We get a lesson in what
He's going to do it again.
Oh,
run into our camera
That
tower.
one's got a camera on it. Easy there, Doug. Oh, tough break for him, too. Let's see if he can get it reversed and out. Apparently not.
I think it hit the guardrail a bit too hard to be reversing anyway, didn't it?
Your leader is Garth Ullum from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Alistair Oakes Volkswagen going out the bottom of your screen, lapping at 85.29 miles an hour. And it appears to be getting drier, so we can anticipate that he will pick up speed as the day goes on.
Of course, very often, you know, when it just starts to get dry, the track actually, for a period, goes through an incredibly slippery phase. Here we are back at our race, which is now, of course, for fourth and fifth, with the demise earlier on of young Mr. Doug Peterson.
This is Joe Vardy, the number 51 car, followed by John Norris in the number 90. David mentioned two different variations on the same basic design. Dodge and Mitsubishi each making their own version of this turbocharged four-wheel drive machine. The Eagle in the case of Dodge, and the Mitsubishi Eclipse. Now there is Charlie Downs from California, rolling along in the only BMW in the field. Whoa, getting a little bit sideways there. Hang on, Charlie.
Of course, he is also one of the few rear-wheel drive cars in this race, because most of the other combatants are at least front-wheel drive, even if they're not four-wheel drive. And the BMW, of course, driving the way God invented cars, meant them to be driven through the rear wheels.
Charlie Downs really got his hands full there, sawing away at that steering wheel. Despite what you said, David, I wonder if you offered Charlie Downs four-wheel drive right now, what he'd give you for it. Speaking of which, here comes the number 91 of Mike Rutherford, hanging in there in 7th place behind the 6th place Downs. There is your leader, Garth Ullum. Now, we may see the checkers this time around. We'll keep an eye on the flag stand. These are timed races, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not officials decide this will be the last lap for our leader, Garth Ullum, looking for his 3rd victory of the season. This is the first race of the second half of the 1990 campaign. Ullum has a points lead of 8 over Parker Johnstone. We now have official word this is the final lap. So when he approaches the flag stand, there are the checkered flag. There is the checkered flag, I should say, for Garth Ullum with his 3rd victory of the 1990 season. And he will fatten up his points lead over Parker Johnstone, who will finish in 3rd place behind Pepe Pombo's Nissan.
So now the thing is, how is our battling trio here?
It remains Joe Vardy in the number 4 spot, John Norris in 5th in the 90 car, and Charlie Downs in 6th. They have but one turn to go. It looks like that's the way they'll finish.
Well, John Norris had his moment in front of Joe Vardy, let Vardy get round him again, and now he's going to pay the penalty because the race has been stopped just a little bit early because of these conditions.
So your top 10 are Garth Ullum, Pepe Pombo, Parker Johnstone, Joe Vardy, John Norris, Charlie Downs, Mike Rutherford, Bill Topping, Butch Leitzinger, and Alistair Oakes. We'll take a quick time out and come back to meet our winner of the Luke Clutch Challenge, round number 6 of the 1990 season from Watkins Glen International. Stay with us. All right, thank you, Mike. We'll give you final results here. Garth Ullum, of course, your winner over Pepe Pombo, Parker Johnstone, Joe Vardy, and John Norris. Leading the next 5 at Charlie Downs, Mike Rutherford, Bill Topping, Butch Leitzinger, Alistair Oakes. Well done all around. That's the story from here in Watkins Glen. For Mike Joy and David Hobbs, I'm Bob Varsha. So long from Watkins Glen, New York.